You know, city planning is kind of important. Today in this video sponsored by Ubisoft, we're going to be playing Anno 117 and building the richest and wealthiest city the Roman Empire has ever seen. I'm talking a max population level, a fully upgraded endgame coliseum, making a ton of money, and I also want to make it look really pretty, which I'm usually completely incapable of. Will I be able to prove that even a self-proclaimed professional can achieve peak Roman prosperity, or will I fall victim to my own hubris and also like 1,000 fires? But first, Anno 117 Pax Romana is out now on Steam, Epic, Ubisoft Connect, Xbox, and PlayStation. You won't regret it, link down below. So here we are in the Roman Empire. Pretty much the same, except the Emperor picked me to be a governor now. I'm not sure why the Emperor trusted me to manage the lives of thousands of people, but it's a little concerning for everyone involved. Now, I've had the chance to play Anno 117 multiple times, which should either make me a professional city builder at this point, or an incredibly expensive mistake, just like my parents used to say. If you're unfamiliar with Anno games usually operate as a mycelium of nightmarish production chains. Your people need bread. Bread needs bread makers. Bread makers need wheat. Wheat needs farms. Farms need people. People need bread. And then the whole thing lights on fire when you aren't looking. In Anno 117, there are 4 population tiers. Tier 1 are the lowest class, who do the most basic work in the Roman economy. Tier 2 are the middle class Romans. Tier 3 are the equites. This is more of a wealthy merchant class. And in Tier 4, you get the absolute most pampered elite that Rome has to offer. So my first goal is to fill an entire city with these absolute degenerates. On top of that, I also want to build the endgame amphitheater, which is a massive monument that requires thousands of expensive resources. I also want to make a ton of money, and then I added one more thing to my list. In a moment of pure hubris, I said I wanted to make it look pretty. And that's how my save file ended up being played for over 20 hours. Sometimes when I close my eyes, all I can think of is service coverage. Now, I really have no idea why I thought I could do this. For reference, my cities usually look like this, but filled with determination, which is what I call having a white monster at 4 in the morning. I loaded into a brand new game, settled on an island that looked aesthetic, and started planning. I really like this section where it's like a slope, and then it's sort of like an outcropping. So my vision for it is that we could put like a big building up there, and then we could have all of our fancy buildings over here. I think it'll look pretty nice actually, but it's also not that much space, so I don't know. It might sort of complicate things, but we'll see. First, I needed to not die immediately. To successfully build the richest city in Anno 117, I'm using an advanced technique I call making it up as I go, combined with a rare form of ego death that only happens when you're extremely caffeinated and slightly dissociating. Which let me convince myself that I was enough of a city building pro to actually know what I'm doing. At first I planned out a city that ended up actually being a pretty good decision, with lots of houses around the outside and all of our important services right in the middle. So that way we have pretty good coverage of what everyone needs to be happy. A market, a tavern, and eventually firefighters and a medicus and a city watch. So that way we have pretty good coverage of our main sort of city area, and it also gives us a lot of room to expand in the future.
New land.
Now, early on, the main thing that you need to do is try to not run out of money and start making enough money where you are self-sustaining. But somehow, despite only having access to wood and fish, my early city did start to take a shape I was kind of starting to feel proud of. Poor, hopeless peasants started moving in. We were seeing results. Things were going pretty well. Now all I had to do was not run out of money. As long as we didn't run out of money, we would keep doing pretty good. And then I ran out of money. Okay, not technically. We started with 20,000 denarii. You can start with as little as 5,000. So the fact that we nearly went bankrupt was especially embarrassing. But I think technically not going bankrupt does count as a win in my book. And after several hours, I unlocked the tier 2 population, which meant we were no longer poor. This is when I became optimistic. Wildly optimistic. Way too optimistic. So optimistic that I decided to expand without really planning at all. And this is where everything went wrong. This would become a major problem because I didn't even put down any services first or really plan or think that I needed to plan. I just kept putting down more and more houses, scattering in services wherever I could fit them, and at a certain point it became impossible to keep all of my people happy. What I was trying to do was make as much progress as possible, and I thought I could do it by just filling in the gaps later, and I felt like now that I could actually build up my city pretty quickly, surely there couldn't be any harm in that, right? Well, from experience, let me tell you that there's no greater sense of dread than building your 30-second fire safety building and still having a catastrophic risk of fire.
One of your cities is at risk of a great fire.
At this point, all of our early goals were sort of completed, so I took the time to assess our position in the city. I've been playing for 8 hours. Our city is terrible. I thought we could just develop more and make it work, but everyone is upset with like everything. What if I just deleted everything? Is this how proper city planners do it? Honestly, getting rid of the island sprawl I had been building up to that point was one of the best things I could have done for myself. Not only did it clear my mind and make the next steps forward pretty obvious, it also let me delete most of the redundant services I was building to try and make up for my terrible planning decisions. And even just by auto-trading for the rest of the resources, we even managed to bring some of them to level 3. So we made more progress by deleting most of our city. Strange. That's Anno. But at a certain point, the problem became that I couldn't trade for any more marble. I was able to get a couple pieces here and there, but for whatever reason, no one else wants to make it. And I can't make it on my island because I'm missing something called fertility. Well, I guess that's what the internet's already assuming about me based on the autocompletes. Fair enough, I can see why. Marble fertility. We don't have marble fertility. So I guess it's time to go and settle a second island. That's when I hopped on a boat and headed over to this island right next to us, which ended up being a pretty good decision because this time I would actually plan out my city. And speaking of actually planning, I figured out some new city design techniques. This is a modular district. Look at how efficient it is. You have full coverage of all your services, a bunch of houses dotted around the outside. It's small enough so that you can put it anywhere. And the reason this all works is because I found out about this button on the toolbar. I probably sound really dumb, but it's my favorite mechanic. This button lets you copy and paste. I'm not joking when I say this is the most broken mechanic in Anno 117. All I had to do was design one small, efficient district with perfect service coverage. A market here, a tavern here. Every house has perfect coverage, and then you can just copy and paste it wherever you want to expand. For reference, here it is next to my previous generation of city planning. Oh, we're so sad. Oh, our houses are gonna burn down. Oh, we're sick with the plague. Oh, we're gonna throw a riot. Oh, we're gonna starve to death. Wow, wow, wow. And now, this is the process for me building a district. Welcome to Anno 117, Control-C, Control-V edition. I can just copy-paste this wherever I need it. This is probably my favorite mechanic in the entire game. So now that I finally had my stamp system in place, my progress accelerated really quickly. I set up my second island, and I put down 4 of these across the island. The main resources I wanted to get from here were marble and concrete, and I set up supply chains between them and my main island, so that way I could start upgrading more of my houses. There were still some resources that I couldn't produce, but those ones ended up being pretty easy to trade for too. Then I finally made it to tier 4, where we have the degenerate Roman elite I've been working towards. Yeah, this is looking really good. Now I felt like I'd finally done it. My economy was doing really well. I felt like we were filthy rich. Basically every citizen we were able to upgrade to tier 4 after enough time. We had every service covered, every district was functioning pretty well, and I felt like I'd actually done it. But then we still had to build the amphitheater. The amphitheater is Anno 117's endgame project, basically. It's a massive Roman Colosseum that requires over 1,000 marble, 1,000 rope, 1,000 concrete, hundreds of clay tiles, and 300 dedicated workers from each population tier. Besides for the level 4 workers, they get to just hang out and be debauched like always. This is way more than I was expecting. Oh my god. So when I thought originally I'd be done in a mere 16 hours, suddenly we had a few more to go. Now I did find a pretty good location for it. I ended up putting it on top of the little clearing that I thought would look pretty cool. And I don't know, I think this vision that I had for the city did ultimately end up working somehow. I think it helps that the game is really pretty on its own. So for the next several hours, my entire city, my entire commercial empire was dedicated to one goal: gather enough resources to build the world's most expensive sports venue. I guess besides for the actual Colosseum, I optimized a bunch more production chains. I stamped a few more districts across my island, including one right next to the amphitheater, and I even acquired a fleet of ships. We could send our ships out, have them travel over to our neighboring governors, who yes, I bribed in order to let me trade with them directly. And eventually we brought back enough marble, rope, concrete. The amphitheater got constructed more and more. And finally, after 20 hours of gameplay, the amphitheater was done. Behold, my beautiful amphitheater. It actually does look really good.
Hercules, you built an amphitheater. Look at the size of it. Unbelievable. If you need a loan or a treaty, let's say I'm game for it.
Okay, I honestly was like very suspicious that I'd be able to do this. Once we had our economy going and we were able to set up our districts and trade for whatever we needed to, it was actually pretty straightforward. And I think it being up there and the rest of the city actually looks really pretty. This is all thanks to discovering that Control-C, Control-V is the most powerful and broken tool ever. And after 20 hours, thousands of fires, one mental breakdown, and copying and pasting, we finally built the richest city you can build in Anno 117. So what do we learn from our experience? Rome wasn't built in a day, but it can be copy-pasted in 20 hours. And I should probably go touch some grass. Okay, Anno 117 Pax Romana is out now. Link down below. And thanks again to Ubisoft for sponsoring this video. And thank you for watching this video. I hope you liked watching me suffer. I'll see you in the next video. Take care and much love.